I don't know if you guys heard, but TFT Esports is introducing a new Tier 1 circuit, an additional layer of competition for our most dominant players. So this is news that dropped today. Today is March 19th. And I figured we can go through it together because it's a pretty big deal. I mean, we don't know when PB is going to be up again, so we'll see. With the official reveal of TFT's newest set, Cyber City, in the most recent dev drop, we dropped some exciting news for our plans for esports in Set 15 and the crucial role that Cyber City will play in this update. Introduction of a Pro TFT competitive circuit.
Man, I'm getting more dogged again.
J Magan, thank you for 13. For years, we've watched the best TFT players improve set over set and show that they are a tier of their own. The best players in each region managed to qualify for the Golden Spatula and even reach the Tactician's Crown with remarkable consistency set after set. But after each set, we also recognize that these players are hit with a huge reset. A reset in gameplay, rank, and qualification points. After a pro has their best set ever, they're basically told to start from zero. The path back to the top requires a huge grind through every part of the ecosystem, rank to trials to cups, all the way back until they reach the Tactician's Crown. It's true. There's no off-season in TFT as well. That's a really big part about competing in TFT. It's exhausting because if you fight in Worlds, 2 days later, PB drops, and sometimes PB matters in terms of prepping for stuff, and then all of a sudden, you don't have any vacation time. There's no off season. Along the way, they have some really exciting, compelling matches, but many matches feel like they're checking a box. Many of the same names are seen at the top of each ecosystems over and over again. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. In Set 15, we are introducing a brand new competitive layer to our current format, where the top 32 players in each region from the last set will compete in a high-stakes tournament circuit, including a regular prize pool and a more direct path towards a Tactician's Crown. Okay, this tournament series will give the best players an opportunity to showcase their skills all throughout a set. At the end of the set, they'll go up against the very best from the ranked trials and cups ecosystem who are looking to claim their spot in the next set circuit. These changes will also help make way for new players to rise to the top of the Tactician's trials and cups, making it easier to hide the best and upcoming talent in the TFT ecosystem. So it sounds like Riot is putting together a TFT Pro Tour. A TFT Pro Tour. I wouldn't say it's like a league per se, but it's definitely more akin to doing what I guess like maybe Magic did. I'm not entirely sure. But it's basically that there's going to be 32 players playing in a tournament circuit, and I'm assuming you could play onto the tour. I mean, we'll go through it. But I actually did something like this in Hearthstone, and the biggest issue is that you don't want to choke out tier 2 talent, right? You don't want to just protect the tier 1 players. You also want to give tier 2 an aspiration. We'll see. What is the qualification process? At the conclusion of each set, players will qualify for the next tier 1 circuit based on the performance in the set's Golden Spatch. So that's the regionals. So based on regionals. In Cyber City, the top 28 of the 32 competitors from each PAN's region's Golden Spatula will qualify for the new circuit. The remaining 4 players from each region will be invited by Riot. We aim to invite players that have made outsized contributions to TFT and TFT esports, while also considering their historical performance and addressing any gaps in regional representation. While these invitations are currently planned for Set 15, there's a possibility we may extend these a year or 2 down the road. We'll be sure to keep you informed well in advance. Congratulations, K3 Soju. You are qualified for the TFT Pro Circuit. There's no way, like, I guess this guy can go on vacation. This guy does not have to worry about anything.
Damn, I'm a beast.
If you don't qualify for Set 15's Tier 1 ecosystem, you'll still have the opportunity to qualify for the Golden Spatula through Cups and the in-game ladder, just like the current system. To enter or remain in the Tier 1 circuit for Set 16, you'll need to be one of the 32 players who make it to Week 2 of the Golden Spatula. That's right, Week 2. Oh, hey guys, 2 weeks of regionals. That's actually really good because we don't have to oh my god, 2 weeks of regionals? Okay, you know what? I can get down behind that. The idea will be that Week 1 will probably be like the play-in stage, the group stage, and then the playoffs or something like that. It'll actually be like a full-on long competition with a lot of games, and that actually I'm actually really interested in that because you know one thing about the Golden Spatula is that it happens so quickly. It's over in 2 to 3 days, and then it also happens so close to the World Championship. It feels like a lot of times it's just like the World's qualifier. And so I think they want it to feel like more like the LCS or the LPL, the LCK finals, and then be distinct from the World Championship. So I think that's a good move. Also, by the way, How terrible does it feel to go bot 4 at regionals now? The top 20 of 32. And I mean, I guess technically if you're 29th, you still could get an invite from the 4 players, but like basically this regional set is going to be incredibly sweaty because if you make regionals, you basically just have to not go bot 4 to make it to the pro circuit. So this set, if you don't make it to regionals, you're going to be locked out of the circuit. You're going to have to play your way on in other ways. I'm assuming they are going to allow people to play on. There's not going to be 32 players.
Man, I'm getting more dogged again.
It's also kind of like the last chance for people who have made excuses. If you're a player who has said, these cups don't matter, it's Disneyland, whatever, the cup, and you have an excuse for not making snapshot, you always have an excuse for like not trying really hard for the cup, so on and so forth, yada, 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 yap, 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 yap. This set, everyone is going to be trying really hard. Ladder is never going to matter more. That's actually going to be a good and a bad thing. On the one hand, NA ladder is going to be extremely competitive because you need to find a way to get onto to regionals in some way, and snapshots are going to matter a lot. Snapshots are going to be like make or break because if you have to play in a trial versus a cup, you're gonna miss out on a bunch of opportunity to get points to qualify for regionals potentially if you bomb out in trials. So if you can't make a snapshot, you don't do well, you're not able to do well throughout the set, you're gonna get left behind. So there's definitely gonna be some people who, like, not everyone can make it is the really difficult part about it. I can name you a lot of players who might be deserving of going to regionals that might miss out. But at this point, it'll be like one of those things to find. If you really want to see all-out competition, it's gonna be a bloodbath and war. The other thing that's not so good on the other side is that I think people are gonna sit way more. I think people are going to sit way more on ladder because there's too much at stake. So I don't know if Riot will invite all the influencers. I think there's some people on the borderline, but remember how some people just like didn't care and they played on their account on snapshot day, and if they ran it down, they ran it down. It doesn't really matter. There's going to be a lot less of that. There's going to be a lot less of that. Setsuko. Well, okay, the thing about Setsuko is he qualified for regionals anyway through ladder, ironically enough, but yeah, you don't want to be running it down on snapshot day. Setsuko will still send it. Yeah, he might be the only one. He might be the only one, and he might be the only person that can get away with it. Even Disso ran it down one day, and then he it was kind of a little bit hard for him to climb back immediately, even though it was his best set ever. There was like 1 or 2 days where he actually like sweat, and he was like running down. He's like, oh god, and he actually was not in control of his own fate 100%. On regionals ladder for the first time in a long time. It's just competitive. It's hard. Expansion of the Golden Spatula. In addition to our new circuit, we're significantly expanding the Golden Spatula. Instead of a 3-day single weekend event, the Golden Spatula Set 15 will now span 2 weekends lasting a total of 6 days. Wow, 6 days of regionals. This event will be broken up into 3 phases with the ability to qualify directly to any of the 3 phases depending on your performance during the set. Wow, there are buys. Wow, you qualify for different parts of regionals. Play-ins on day 1, 16 players compete with the top advancing. That's last chance. They have last chance for regionals. Week 1, days 2 and 3, 48 players compete over 2 days with the top 20 advancing. And then week 2, 32 players compete over the first 2 days with top 8 advancing to day 6. That's basically how we play it now. So what they're doing essentially is adding 1 week before with a play-in. The play-in being an LCQ functionally because it's like 16 players play 1 day of competition and then top 8 advance. And then on days 2 and 3, 48 players play both of those days in top 20 advance. So the full player list will be 32 plus 18 plus 8. So that's 56 players. 56 players playing for 28 spots. Okay. Is my math right? Because it's 18 since it's top 20. Or sorry, it's 28. So 20, not 18. It's 66. Sorry. Hold on. This is embarrassing. 32 plus 28 plus 8. 68. There it is. That's what I said. 68 spots. There's 68 spots. 68 spots for and only 28 go through. So 40 players are going to be disappointed. That's going to be exciting. By expanding the Golden Spatula, we're not only giving more players a chance to make an impact in the competitive scene, but also raising the stakes for our top competitors. Rather than just securing a spot in the Golden Spatula, they now have the opportunity to push for direct qualification of the second weekend event. So if you are the best of the best, you qualify directly to weekend 2 of regionals. Wow. Okay. Top 20 advance. So 12 players. 12 players are going to advance to weekend 2. based off my math. Back to the Tier 1 circuit. How does it work? First and foremost, we are continuing with tournament-based format to maximize excitement on individual days and weekends while measuring consistency across multiple formats in order to account for the inherently variable nature of TFT. That's good. I don't think a weekly league is what we want. I think it's actually more important to do tournaments still. I think that's more exciting. I think I followed the Chinese Pro League. They do something called the... It's just basically like a league that happens 3 weeks in a row and then playoffs. China does it. This set, it was called the Arcane Pro League or something like that. The Asian Champions League, Arcane League. Let me see, what was it called? Yeah, TOC Arcane League. They basically did like a weekly competition and they gave points. And they also like had it seeded to regionals in a lot of different weird ways. It was a little bit hard to follow. And I was just not convinced that weekly league was that interesting. It's interesting to follow because it's like the top Chinese players, but I was not particularly compelled because of the format. I just thought it was interesting to watch Chinese players. So I actually agree that tournaments are probably better than just weekly stuff, especially because it feels like the first week or two doesn't really matter nearly as much as week 3. Each set, there are 3 new Tier 1 tournaments, all the same players with higher prize money, higher stakes, and of course, stronger competition. These will last 3 days with the final day just being one lobby of 8 players, as we know so many fans and players love. Okay, so a big change is that currently in Cups, if you guys don't know, is that they play like 32 players and then they cut 32 to 16 to 8 on the final day. And then it's like game 5, they cut, game 6, they cut, and then game 7 is like one final lobby with 8 players. Instead, day 3 is just going to be one lobby, 8 players always. And that's actually a big change, and that's a really good change because I think a lot of times in TFT competitions, it's kind of hard to follow the journey of players. And very often times you'll like see like 2 or 3 players in the current format where you're just like, I don't even know how they got here. And they're like top 16, top 8 because you haven't even seen them at all. And I think that chaos kind of lends itself to people being less interested in how players perform individually because you just can't follow everything. So I think this is a good thing. Each set, there will be 3 new Tier 1 tournaments, all of the same players with higher prize money, higher stakes, and of course, stronger competition. These will last 3 days with the final day just being one lobby of 8 players. Oh, I said that. Qualifier points will be used in Tier 1 circuit will be the determining factor of where a player begins to run in the golden spatula. 1st to 12th qualifies for week 2. 13th to 24th qualifies for week 1. And then bottom 8 qualifies for play-ins. Okay, so if you don't do well in the Pro Tour or in the circuit, you at least guaranteed in the play-ins, but you have to beat a lot of people to get there. We recognize that qualifier points aren't the most exciting for both fans or players. As mentioned, we want every tournament to feel important. For that reason, day 3 of these new tournaments will always be checkmate, and the winner will stamp their ticket straight to the Tactician's Crown as one of their Pan Regionals representatives. Oh, so if you win any of the... Wow. If you win any of these events, you go straight to Worlds. Whoa. And you know what? You know why that's important? It's because that way regionals final lobby isn't just like 7 people going to Worlds. They're taking away World spots, which is a good thing because then regionals final lobby will actually have like 3 or 4 players going instead of like 7 or 8, which is like way better. Okay. We expect this evolution of the regionals ecosystem brings even more excitement for fans, fosters a healthy, more rewarding environment for pros, and feels like a natural step forward as the scene continues to grow. We can't wait to embark this new journey with all of you. Man, it's like it should be exciting. It's just like I'm still not like exactly over what happened this past weekend. We have so much more that we're eager to share. Okay, so not just sharing about the exciting evolution in TFT in 2025 and beyond, including Tier 1 and Tier 2 updates and more. Whether you're a dedicated competitor or passionate fan, stay tuned as we get closer to 15 big changes are on the horizon. They didn't talk about Tier 2, so there's a couple questions here that's really important. There's a really important question, which is how Tier 2 works, because I'm assuming that there has to be a way to play into Tier 1. First of all, there is, because the bottom 8 players play in the play-ins, which means at least 8 players are going to be competing in the play-ins. And then also, week 1 has 48 players, plus the 8. So it's 40 minus 8, and then minus 12. 40 minus 8 minus 12. So that's 20. So 28 players will play in week 1 that are not from the system. So if my math is correct, or if I'm understanding how this works, because yeah, 48 minus 8 is 40, and then minus 12 that qualify through here, so 28. So 28. So there's going to be 36 spots essentially for people who aren't part of the system to play the win. That's actually completely reasonable. Like if you can't be in the top 60 of your region, then I don't think you deserve to necessarily go to regionals. That's entirely fine. The thing about it is, how does tier 2 look, right? Because the thing is, tier 2 is not going to include these 32 players. So tier 2 is going to be a system without dank memes, without JD, without, I mean, these are all non-NA players, without dish subs as go Wasian, right? So that's going to be tier 2, giving theoretically more opportunities for the tier 2 players to do well. So they need to talk about that. How does tier 2 work? But I'm glad that it looks like there's even more spots for non like professional, full-time, or like the super elite players to play their way on. And it looks like it's for each region. It's not just NA. It looks like it's going to have each separate region. Who watches tier 2 then? Not many people. No, there's no regionals for tier 2. There's no regionals for tier 2. No, this is there's no, basically regionals is the tier 1, but tier 2 is going to be something else. They haven't talked about it. And the question is, who's going to watch tier 2? In general, not many people watch tier 2 competitions of anything. When's the last time you guys watched tier 2 of League of Legends, or tier 2 of Valorant, or tier 2 of, I don't know, Counter-Strike? It's just not very popular. So what about tier 3? Tier 3 competitions is basically ladder. Ladder's tier 3. Tier 2 is like the cups and qualifiers, and then tier 1 is this. Right now, LOL. Okay, well, like a non-cage roll. Okay, actually, he's playing the elimination series. I mean, part of it is because this guy is just a marketing genius. I mean, I'm watching tier 2 right now as well. But like, besides this, when's the last time you watched tier 2 competition? So I think this is overall a good thing, a great step in the right direction. This is the image that I saw someone tweet. New tournament series, Tacticians Cup, feeds into the Tacticians Golden Spatula. Okay, so now Tacticians Cup is basically going to become tier 2. And then the new tournament series is going to be tier 1. And that feeds into Worlds.